Hey guys, Joe here to give you a quick guide on the basics of microphones. And the first thing to note really is that it's not so much a microphone as it is an electronic ear. Now, a microphone is one of the key tools that you will use in radio production. And choosing a microphone is kind of like an artist choosing which paintbrush they want to use when they're creating their work. Simply put, a microphone is used to change an analog sound wave coming from your face or any other source into an electrical signal, which means that a microphone is a transducer. It changes one form of energy into another. So it changes that acoustical sound, that sound wave, into electrical energy or audio. Now, sound is heard with your ears, and audio is an electrical signal that exists within mic cables, control boards, and amplifiers, which is why VU meters are so important because you are able to see the quality of the signal that you are picking up. When it comes to microphones, there are two different physical types of microphones. A dynamic microphone, which is one that uses magnetic inductance to change sound into audio. And the second is a condenser microphone, which uses electrostatic technology to change sound into audio. As you can see here, one type of dynamic microphone is the moving coil microphone that involves magnets to recreate the analog sound wave into a digital audio signal. Now, when it comes to dynamic microphones, they are very rugged. That doesn't mean we should be mistreating them, but they are pretty able to take a punch and keep on kicking. Dynamic microphones are available in directional or non-directional pickup patterns, and specifically directional dynamic microphones exhibit a unique quality called the proximity effect, as demonstrated by this clip. Now, as you listen, take note to how the bass in this guy's voice changes as he gets closer to the mic.
This is a demonstration of the proximity effect of an AKG 414 microphone. Right now I'm standing in a recording studio about 2.5 feet from the front of the microphone. As I move closer to the microphone, you'll notice that the bottom end or bass becomes stronger in my voice. As I step up now to about 1 foot off the face of the microphone, you notice my voice changed. And finally, as I move up closest to the microphone, at about 6 inches off of its face, it takes on a very deep, warm, rich sound. This is called the proximity effect.
Another type of dynamic microphone is the ribbon microphone. It is a little bit more delicate and still uses magnetic structures, but instead a thin metal ribbon recreates the analog sound into a digital audio signal. Ribbon mics offer a different sound quality to a moving coil mic, as demonstrated by this clip.
This is a demonstration of a Royer ribbon microphone and its open natural sound. I'm standing about 2 feet off the face of the microphone, and you'll notice there's a bottom end and there's a top end to the voice. It's all there, just as if I was standing very close to the microphone. This is a ribbon microphone.
Now, ribbon mics are very delicate, which is why they are strictly studio microphones. If that ribbon gets broken, the whole mic is completely shot. And ribbon microphones are available in a number of different directional patterns. And of course, as a dynamic mic, they also exhibit the proximity effect. In fact, ribbon mics exhibit an even more pronounced proximity effect than a typical moving coil dynamic microphone, as demonstrated in this clip.
This is a demonstration of the proximity effect with a ribbon microphone. Even at 3 feet off the face, if you listen to the bottom end of my voice, it's there and it's in good shape. As I move closer to about 2 feet from the microphone, you notice it begins to take on a bassier quality. Again, this is a quality of a ribbon microphone. And finally, moving up close to within about a foot of the microphone, you notice the proximity effect becomes very pronounced. This is a ribbon microphone proximity effect.
The next type of microphone down the list is the condenser microphone that uses electrostatic to recreate an analog signal into a digital signal, as demonstrated by this diagram. Condenser microphones are very sensitive to analog sounds, and condenser mics offer excellent high-frequency responses relative to dynamic microphones. Now, condenser mics are preferred for their open and natural sound, as demonstrated by this clip.
This recording is to demonstrate the open, natural sound of a condenser microphone. Often, artists stand 2 or 3 feet away from these microphones to get the clean, clear sounds that they like. Right now, I'm in a recording studio and I'm standing 3 feet off the face of this microphone. In just a moment, I'll step up to within about 2 feet of the microphone, and as you can hear, my voice change just a little bit, but it still maintains that nice, open, natural sound. And finally, I'll step up within about a foot of the microphone. Now, obviously, you notice the proximity effect as we got closer. But still, there's lots of sibilance, lots of bass, lots of nice, open sound.
But like I said, condenser microphones are extremely sensitive, and in some cases, too sensitive, especially to those sibilance and plosive sounds that we want to avoid recording. As we journey through the world of microphones, and seeing as this is the radio and television production program, you can't not mention lavalier microphones that are little tiny microphones that are a little bit more portable and commonly used in our and professional grade television production studios. These are small condenser microphones that are typically accompanied by a battery pack that allow you to wear them on your clothing so that way you can use your hands to gesture on camera. Now, the next thing to understand about microphones is their pickup pattern. You may have heard me mention it earlier in this video and been wondering, what does that even mean? Well, a microphone pickup pattern is the area in which the microphone is focusing where it is essentially listening. The first and easiest one to understand is the omnidirectional pickup pattern. This means that the microphone is listening in a spherical pattern around the face of the microphone, meaning that it picks up everything in every direction around it, as demonstrated by this clip.
This is a demonstration of the omnidirectional pattern of the AKG 414 microphone. As I walk around this microphone, you're going to notice that my voice doesn't really drop off. I've moved now 90 degrees and I'm talking at the side of the microphone. As I move around to the back side of the microphone, you'll notice that it continues to pick up. And finally, I'm going to be moving around finally to about the 3/4 position to the side of the microphone and once again back to its face. So as you can see, it picks up for 360 degrees around the microphone evenly.
As a reference point, this pickup pattern is typical of many handheld mics. The next microphone pickup pattern is the bidirectional pickup pattern. That means the mic is listening at its front face and its back face, and not the sides of the microphone. Should somebody be standing at the sides of the microphone, they will sound off mic as the microphone rejects those parts of the pattern, focusing instead on the front and back end, as demonstrated by this clip.
This is the demonstration of a bidirectional microphone pattern. Right now, I'm on the front side of the microphone.
And I am on the back side of this AKG 414.
You can hear both of us equally. Now we're going to move to the sides of the microphone, or the dead area of the pattern, so that you can hear how it rejects sound from the sides. Now we're each located in the dead sides of the pattern. I'm on one side.
And I am on the other side.
And you can hear how the bidirectional microphone rejects sound to each side of the microphone.
The next microphone pattern is the cardioid microphone pickup pattern. It draws its name from the very heart-like shape of its pattern, as demonstrated in this diagram, and it will pick up the sound from the face of the microphone, while sound coming in from the rear of the mic will sound extremely off mic, as demonstrated by this clip.
This is a demonstration of the cardioid pattern on an AKG 414 microphone. I'm speaking now directly into the face of the microphone. Now I'm around on the back side of the microphone, and you can see the dramatic difference the pattern makes.
The last microphone pickup pattern that we are going to cover is the supercardioid or hypercardioid pickup pattern. This is an extremely front-focused microphone pattern, rejecting sound from the sides and rear of the microphone. It's typically found in shotgun mics, as demonstrated by this clip.
Right now, I'm talking into the face of a Sennheiser shotgun microphone, a hypercardioid pattern microphone. And I'm about 2.5 feet off the front of the microphone. But notice what happens as I begin to move to the side of the microphone where the pattern begins to drop off. My voice is dropping away from you. Right now, I'm 90 degrees to the side of the microphone. And finally, I'm going to step around to the back side of the microphone, and you've probably lost most of me by now.
Thus far, we've been talking about singular microphones. There do exist stereo microphones that have two microphones within the same device for the purpose of recording a left and right channel to create a stereo image. And their microphone patterns are simply variations upon the singular microphone pattern. For example, under the mid-size stereo microphone, you can have a front-facing cardioid pattern of two mics next to each other, or you can use both, creating a bidirectional side-facing pattern. And they do come in different looks, with the more traditional look having two microphones facing in opposing directions, as is common on a Zoom or Tascam branded handheld portable recorder. But in this day and age of efficiency and getting the most bang for your buck, many microphones have come out with multiple pattern options, meaning that you can change your microphone's pickup pattern to a different pickup pattern to suit your needs. For example, the mic that I'm even recording this on is a Blue Yeti USB microphone that can switch between 4 different pickup patterns at the change of a dial, namely the cardioid, omnidirectional, bidirectional, and stereo bidirectional patterns. So it always pays to know which pickup pattern you want to use for any given situation. That way you know the mic to choose, or simply the setting on the mic to choose. So now that you know the different types of microphones, as well as the different pickup patterns of microphones, you might be wondering what exactly the microphone is hearing when it's listening to you. Well, it's listening for its frequency response, namely the frequencies that the microphone is capable of picking up. Human hearing ranges from about 20 Hz to 20 kHz, and typically most microphones do that as well. So maybe you're wondering why there are so many brands and different variations of microphones that you could potentially buy. That's because each microphone and each microphone company offers different quality to its frequency response. Some companies and microphones are better at picking up certain frequencies that are more resonant in our voices or in the real world, meaning they sound a little bit more rich and sweet and present as opposed to others. Some microphones have a better bass end, while some have a better high end. At the end of the day, each microphone's frequency response is going to be a little bit different, so the one that you're going to want to use is going to be the one that's suited to the sounds you're going to want to record. Now, the next thing we are going to talk about is microphone connectors, because microphones are all well and good, but if you don't have something connected to it to send the audio through to a mixer or your computer, they're not really going to be able to do much. When it comes to connectors, there are two categories of professional connectors: balanced and unbalanced. The most typical one you're going to find in the radio and television program is a balanced XLR cable. These cables have 3 connectors at the end of the male end and an input for 3 at the female end. These 3 represent the positive, negative, and shield of the cable, meaning that it is a balanced cable. There is a positive, a negative, and a shield. The next professional connector is the balanced tip, ring, and sleeve connector, or TRS connector. The reason this one is considered balanced is because of the sleeve, ring, and tip each playing a separate role in the balancing act of the connector. Essentially, the tip acts as the positive, the ring acts as the negative, and the sleeve acts as the shield or ground. Meanwhile, the last form of professional connector is the unbalanced tip-sleeve connector, or TS connector. This is unbalanced because there are only 2 conductors. The tip acts as the positive, while the sleeve acts as the ground, and therefore there is no negative conductor to balance out that positive conductor in the tip, making it unbalanced. So while you may naturally want to assume balanced is 2, or an even number, in terms of audio connections, a balanced connector has 3 different points of contact: a positive, a negative, and a ground, or shield. Alright, that was a really deep dive into a lot of the technical stuff behind microphones, so why don't we take a step back and review some of the stuff you already know about microphones, but give you a little bit more context to them. So when it comes to speaking into a microphone, we already know that you should be within the critical distance of the microphone, namely within the pickup pattern, and you need to learn to work the microphone in a way that benefits you. Typically, that's going to mean speaking directly into the front of the microphone about a hand's width away from the front of the microphone. Well, why is that? Pretty simple. If you get too close to the microphone and speak directly into it, you do risk the potential of popping plosives, as demonstrated in this clip.
Here is a demonstration of popping your peas. Paul ate popcorn at the movies.
There are a few ways to reduce your plosives that are picked up by the mic. The first one is pretty much the easiest one also, proper mic technique. Remember, this was taught to you during the early phases of this course and is always important to remember to use. Typically, this consists of turning the microphone 90 degrees and talking across the pickup pattern of the microphone. Alternatively, you can rely on some form of windscreen or popper stopper to reduce your plosives, and they function by blocking air from hitting the face of the mic and therefore being recorded. These can be used for outdoor recordings on a windy day or for simply blocking those explosive puffs of air that come with plosive consonants, as demonstrated by this clip.
This is a demonstration of how a windscreen can help prevent some pretty serious noise outside. First, let's take a listen to a microphone that's outside on a breezy day. That loud, roaring, thumping, bumping sound you're hearing is the wind hitting the diaphragm of the microphone. It's a pretty ugly sound. Now, let's slide a windscreen on, the same microphone, same location, same powerful breeze that was hitting us that day. Now take a listen to what the microphone sounds like. As you can see, a windscreen can make a huge difference when you're outside.
As we wrap up our discussion on microphones, I would be a little bit remiss if I didn't remind you to respect the microphones you are going to be using. So that means don't blow into the microphone. Don't bang on a microphone to see if it is on. Yes, that does include tapping on the microphone face to see if it's working. Don't cause physical harm to your microphone, or else it may begin to slowly break, and that's not something you want. Instead, you should be using the microphone properly, speaking about a hand's width away from the microphone, handling it by the stand and not the physical microphone itself, and handling it with care because microphones are quite expensive, especially when you get into the really high-end, great quality microphones. I know a lot of this was on the very technical side of things, so if you need to go back and re-watch it to understand it further, by all means do so. This video is here to help. And of course, if you want to delve deeper into microphones and even deeper into the technological end of things, go ahead and read your textbook even closer, because that goes even deeper into detail as to what is going on in microphones.